welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa. My channel is Melissa_done in6. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram by that same name. Today I just wanted to show you how I would do my makeup for a special occasion, whether that be a wedding, a night out, a divorce party, whatever you consider a special occasion. So something neutral, something that photographs well, goes with different outfits depending on your color scheme, something long wearing, and something that wears well, right? Because makeup can break up, but you want to focus on using makeup that the longer it's on your skin, it actually starts to look better than worse. And there are products that do that and techniques to help you achieve that. So let's get into it. So my skin is moisturized already. It feels pretty good. I'm just gonna add a little bit more around. I'm starting to break out pretty badly around my jawline. So I want to make sure all of those pimples or healing pimples are moisturized well. That way they're not like flaky and nasty looking. And also under eyes tend to be a lot drier than the rest of your skin. So I'm going to go ahead and add a bit more moisture to these two areas. I'm just taking like the smallest amount of my moisturizer. And again, just focusing it on those areas that are a bit drier. Right, and this will prevent, like, especially on the healing acne or pimples, that your foundation won't look like crusty. Next, I'm going to focus on priming, and I'm actually going to be using two primers. So one more so in the areas where I get oily, so primarily my T-zone, and then another one to help just like grip the foundation and add a bit more hydration. So for basically all over the face, I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I really like this one and the Milk one. I think they're both really good. They're gripping primers. They add like the slightest bit of hydration, like nothing crazy, not greasy at all. But what I like about them is they're gripping, so they help your products adhere to your skin for longer. Okay, and just on like the center of my face, so like especially around here, I tend to get a bit oily around my nose. I'm gonna go in with the Makeup Forever Shine Control. This is just like a mini size I purchased. And just go in with like the tiniest bit. So anywhere I would get like extra shiny. I tend to have like normal skin, but I can get oily. So this will help me get not as oily. So next I'm going to go ahead and do my brows while I just let the primer set onto the skin. What I first like to do is I'm going to actually take a bit of setting powder, like the smallest amount, and run that along my brows. This way the product adheres a bit more if you have like any moisturizer or moisture left in the brows. Product's not like slipping and sliding everywhere. Okay, and I'll start doing my brows, but at the very end I always do touch-ups, because once you start adding other products, it can take away some product. So I'm taking the Kosas Brow Pop. Just adding a little bit amount, because I have pretty dark brows already, just not too much brow. So just evening them out. Okay, for now that's good enough for me, because again, at the end I'll go in, and if I need to like extend the tail or add any more in the front, I'll do that. But I'm actually going to go ahead and clean them up with concealer. I really like cleaning up my eyebrows. I feel like it just makes them look more, just looks cleaner. I don't have any other words to describe that. And if I have like any stray hairs I couldn't pluck, or if I went a little overboard with product, this will fix that right up. I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyelids. And another little trick, you can take eyeshadow primer and actually apply it under if you have like creasing with your eyeshadow. I'm sorry, with your concealer. So just like add the tiniest bit there. And when you go ahead and add your concealer, it'll help from creasing and just like moving around a lot. And for this look, I want something very neutral, pretty, photographs well, goes with, you know, different outfits. One of my favorite, like, neutral classic eyeshadow palettes is the Identity palette from Persona. It's just like the formula is beautiful, the shadows blend out well, and just all your basic colors that you need in one palette. I'm first going to start with setting down the eyeshadow primer with this like beigey cream shade Humble. I'm just taking that all over the lid up to the brow. And next I'm going to go in with this sort of neutral brown shade called Maverick. And I'm first going to just start applying it closer to the lash line, because it is a bit deeper than I'm wanting it to be. And then with whatever that's left over on the brush, just start buffing that upward into the crease. Almost always do my eyeshadow first, because like if there's any fallout, I don't have to worry about disrupting my foundation. I can just clean that up before we go into foundation. But now I'm going to go in with the shade Fearless, which is like the darkest brown in this palette. And I'm just going to actually stamp it along the lash line, acting as a eyeliner. And I'm actually going to use that same shadow and just create a line, a winged liner with powder. This is where you get like a softer wing than if you were to go in with liquid. And I love how this palette has like an array of like satin shades. They're not like too metallic, but very pretty shades. And they have like golden ones, taupey ones. This is a good variety. So if you're like a beginner and you don't have like a neutral palette, or you're looking for a good neutral palette, I highly recommend this one. But I'm gonna go in with the shade Seductive. It's more of a taupey color. I'm gonna apply that basically all over the lid. And I'm taking like a packer brush to do that. And if you want them to be even more like metallic, shiny, you can always put the product on your brush and then wet it with water or setting spray, doesn't really matter. Because it's like a special occasion makeup, I do want it to be a little more sparkly. So I'm going to go in with this shadow from JCat Beauty. This is their Prismetal Chrome Eye Mousse in the shade Frosty Foil. Oh, looks like that. So I'm just going to add some with my finger. Just tap that over the shade I just put down. See, it just adds like a bit of dimension and texture. So I'm cleaned up whatever eyeshadow fell with a Q-tip, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and color correct. My brain forgot all words for a minute. With the LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is in the shade light yellow. I like this for like any sallowness I have under the eyes. I feel like yellows look better on my skin tone and balance out the like purplish undertone I have under the eyes better than the very popular like pink. So I just blend that out. I had to move my hair because it was making me crazy, and for foundation it was just gonna get in the way. So before I go in with foundation, I'm actually going to do some underpainting. So I'm actually going to take a concealer that's a few shades darker than my skin tone, just to add some dimension. I like this technique because I'll first go in with creams, and then you're going to actually set those with powder. So this makes that the product lasts the whole day. So once the powders start to like wear off, you still have that cream base that you used underneath it. And this doesn't have to be perfect because I'm still going to go in with my foundation and concealer just to start shaping the face. And this is not very, like, much darker because I do have some that are darker, but I don't want it to look like too apparent. And I like using a concealer for this because it's providing more coverage than if you were to go with like a contour product that tend to have a sheer base. And I'm gonna take a brush to blend that product out. And because you're going to like special event, there could be flash photography. So having the extra layers helps with that. So the product's not all like washed away by flashing. Next, I'm gonna highlight with a lighter concealer. And a tip for your concealer, which you probably already know, if you want it to have a bit more coverage, let it dry a little bit. Okay, take into account the formula you're using. Like, I'm not using this one today, but the One Size one is very like liquidy and dries very fast, so I wouldn't necessarily do that with this one. But the e.l.f. one has a bit more emollients, so you can like let it sit for about a minute, a few seconds, and then blend it out. And I'm gonna again use a brush to blend that out. And I prefer brushes for this because it's not gonna take away a lot of the coverage like a wet sponge would. And I'm gonna look crazy now, but just trust the process, okay? Very 2016 type of makeup. But hey, it works for special occasions. And for foundation, I like to go in with one that is not dewy, but not ultra matte. So something in the middle, like skin finish, that's long wearing. Not light coverage, right? Because lighter coverage foundations tend to get a bit dewy. So I kind of want to avoid that if you want it to last a while. Because if you go in with a dewier foundation, obviously wear time is going to be cut in half. I also don't want to go in with like one of those like spackle foundations because it just doesn't look right, especially say it doesn't match exactly. It's super apparent. You want to avoid a foundation or products in general that have any SPF because that will cause flashbacks. So if there is flash photography, be mindful of that. So I'm actually going to go in with the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. Super watery foundation. I like this for special occasions or when I'm doing like this underpainting technique because it's like medium coverage, buildable, long wearing. It's not dewy, it's not matte. It's very like skin-like and just wears a long time for really well, right? Pat McGrath is known for doing like fashion shows, magazines. So obviously she knows what she's doing to have a foundation that can that photographs well and lasts a very long time on the skin. So I really like this one for this sort of technique, or if you're looking for a special occasion foundation. Like I said, it's super like liquidy. So what that'll mean is it'll dry pretty quick. So you don't want to like dot it all around because it could dry and be hard to blend out. So I'm actually just going to apply it with a sponge. And go ahead and start tapping that over your whole face. And you see how like that scary contour and the super bright concealer, everything just starts to blend together. Like it looks like it's coming from under. You know, it just looks natural. It's not like super apparent. And when you're blending your foundation, even if you have like a perfect match, like make sure you're like blending it down so you don't have like that super apparent line at the jawline. Before I set anything down, I'm actually going to take a setting spray because you want to incorporate setting sprays throughout the process. This will help with the longevity as well. And I'm going to take a sponge, just press that in the skin. So we'll make sure everything is blended out well. You're pushing the product into the skin, picking up any excess product. And I want to make sure everything is like blended out. Right. I'm going to go in with the Evolution powder from Danessa Myricks. This is the, I think, shade 1. It's like a pure white. And I'm only going to use this on the center of the face to add extra highlighting. And this is a beautiful powder, super smooth. I have never had flashback with it. And it comes in multiple shades if you don't want to use white. I'm just gonna bake a little bit with this. The only thing I don't like is this mesh cover. It's kind of hard to get product out of. Okay, I'm just gonna let that sit for like maybe a minute. While I let that powder sit, I'm actually gonna go in with my, it's bronzer, but you can also, again, apply it where you applied the contour, especially this shade. It's more like neutral, not super warm, not too cool. It's from Hourglass. This is the Luminous Bronze Light. And I really like these because they add just the slightest bit of luminosity and they're buildable. When you're doing your makeup, don't forget your ears. Like my ears are super pale, so just like add a bit of bronzer or even blush to them so they're not like a very different color. Now what I like to do is take a foundation powder and just sort of bring everything down. This will help, like, if your bronzer got, like, if you apply too much, bring it down. And you'll add extra coverage, which is always nice. And going in with some more setting spray. And let that dry before we move on. Okay, and we're going to do that same technique with the underpainting for blush. So I'm first going to go in with this Makeup by Mario one. Just apply it a little bit. And it's fine to apply creams over powders. Just be gentle about it. Like I would suggest like tapping it like I'm doing it here. Because if you take a brush, it may disrupt. And then I'm going to just set that cream blush with this CoverGirl brush in Soft Mink. And I like these colors because they're pink, but they've got more of a neutral undertone, so nothing too bright. And that blush already has like a very pearly luminescence, super beautiful blush. But I'm gonna add some highlighter. This is, what is it? Double Gleam from MAC, a classic. Just add the tiniest bit. Because I use a lot of like matte products. You're going to be strategic where you want your shine, since a lot of your oils won't be coming through. Now I'm going to go in with lips. I'm first going to line them with this black opal lip liner in Gold Coast. This is one of my favorite lip liners. And I'm actually going to fill in my whole lip. This will help your product or your lip products last longer. Next, I'm going to go in with Maybelline Lead the Way, and I'm just going to apply this, focus on the center of the lips. Just like a slight ombre effect. Nothing too crazy. Because I want my lips to last, I'm just going to leave it at that. I was going to use a gloss, but gloss will make things start to move and come off a lot easier. Whereas these two products are matte, so they'll last through food, through drinking, so we don't have to worry about reapplying the lips too often. It's at this point that I would check on my eyebrows. So I'll just go ahead and reapply to the tail. Or if any product got wiped off with foundation application. And I will set them with a Stronghold brow gel. And this one is from Beauty Creations. Alright, I'm all over the place with my makeup. Back to the eyes. So again, you can do that same process. Sometimes foundation can like take away some of your eyeshadow. So if you just want to like go in with the brushes you used originally and just blend things out again. And really, I'm just going to apply some of the shade Maverick to half of my lower lash line. Since I have smaller eyes, I don't like to apply too much dark shadow because then it just makes them look even smaller. To finish up the eye, I'm going to go in with the shade Sassy, which is like this light pearly shade on the inner corner. This will just like open and brighten up the eyes. It looks really good in photos. Off camera, I am going to curl my lashes and apply mascara. For longer events, I would recommend a waterproof mascara, even though they're annoying to remove. Or if you don't feel like you're a crier, you can do a tubing mascara, which are great. But if you're a crier, tubing mascara removes with water, so keep that in mind. You'll have like little black flecks all over your face. So I'm going to go in with the waterproof mascara and apply these lashes from Kiss. These are in the style Bare Affair. But before we do that, one last shot of setting spray. Okay, so I applied the lashes and this is the completed look. What do you think? I really love it. I feel super pretty in it. I love doing a cat eye because it just like lifts and elongates my face. The foundation looks incredible. Oh, I'm obsessed with this look. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like this look? Do you not like it? If you don't, say. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new on like how to prolong your makeup for events, or maybe this gave you an idea if you have a wedding or a party, a bachelorette party, or anything coming up, baby shower, you just want to feel good. maybe inspired you to go play with some makeup. I'm gonna go ahead and list all the products I used today down below. If there's an asterisk, I would make a small commission off of that sale. If that makes you uncomfortable, you can just shop directly through the retailer. But no, if you do shop through those links, I'll be able to put more back into this channel and play with more makeup. So do with that information what you will. Thanks again for watching and supporting. Can't wait to see you in my next video. Take care, everyone.